Well, Bowen had another shocker
close.
today. He tried to defend Labor's over-reliance on confidentiality agreements. Remember last week, I brought you the report that Labor was forcing companies, industry lobby groups, stakeholders to sign secrecy provisions, non-disclosure agreements before being even able to look at policy documents. And also Tanya Blibasek had industry groups leave their mobile phones out of the room before coming in to look at her nature-positive legislation. So there was a lot of pressure on the government to explain why they were using this non-disclosure agreement at a regular basis when they promised transparency from opposition. Well, when questioned about it today, here's what Chris Bowen had to say.
Car companies came to us and said they wanted to share commercial and confidence data with the government and asked for the negotiations or the consultations to be held in that light. And so we agreed to that, and therefore there were those sorts of agreements entered into. But also in terms of the vehicle efficiency standards, there were 2 public consultation papers, thousands of submissions. There was also the preferred model put out, thousands of submissions, all public, all worked through. So there will always be a combination of public consultation and private consultations.
I mean, Liz, Chris Bowen there blaming the car manufacturers, but the reality is this use of NDAs is right across the board in the government.
Yes.
And I would like to hear from the car manufacturers because I'm sure they didn't beg for NDAs before looking at the legislation.
No. And there's ways to make that portion, if indeed the story is true, confidential while not getting everyone to sign gag orders before they're simply coming to a meeting with the government to discuss future policy. We heard the same from people who were having meetings with the government who were from the disability sector, and they were like, why do we have to sign off on all these NDAs? And what a joke this is, coming from a government who said till they were blue in the face that their middle name was going to be transparency, transparency, transparency before they got into government. That is the exact opposite of what we're seeing here. And the obvious question is, what is so bad that you have to hide? Why all these gag orders? Why can't these people come in, talk to you about the future of policy, what they'd like to see? Most of them are service providers of some kind. What is the need for the kind of secrecy? Obviously, you have closed-door discussions when actually writing the policies before you take it to the House, before you're actually getting a bill in black and white. These are simply consultative meetings. So what is so bad that you're requiring these people who are basically coming in for a chat and to give their thoughts and to exchange different stats, how their business is going, give you suggestions? Why on earth do they have to sign these NDAs?
Yeah, exactly.